They don't tell you about the silence. Everyone talks about the crying, the grief, the screaming, but no one prepares you for the absolute, deafening silence of a nursery that was meant to be full of life. I am standing at the exit of the hospital. Late November, the air is so sharp it feels like glass on my skin, but I feel nothing. I am holding a transparent plastic bag. Inside is a tiny white onesie with a little silver star on it. I spent weeks picking it out. Now it's just a piece of fabric sitting on top of a pile of cold medical records. "Take care of yourself, honey," the nurse whispered. I didn't even look at her. I couldn't. Her eyes were full of that heavy pity that makes you want to disappear. The elevator ride down felt like a descent into another world. Every time the doors opened, I felt a piece of my old self slipping away. On one floor, I heard a baby's distant, and it felt like a physical blow to my chest. Then, finally, the doors slid open to the lobby. Reality hit me like a wall. Mark was waiting by the car. He looked like he had aged 20 years in 3 days. He didn't have flowers. He didn't have a smile. He just looked at my empty hands, and his jaw tightened. "The heater is on," he said. That was it. No "I love you," no "we'll be okay." Just "the heater is on." Because when your world collapses, you focus on the smallest, most trivial comforts. The drive home was a funeral procession of one. I looked out the window at the city lights. People were rushing, living their normal lives, planning their holidays. I wanted to scream, "Stop! Don't you see? My world has ended." When we entered the apartment, the smell hit me. We had prepared everything. The crib was in the corner of our bedroom, covered in a soft silk canopy. The mobile with the little wooden birds was ready to spin for a child who would never see them. I walked into the room and just stood there. Mark tried to close the door to shield me from the sight, but I pushed his hand away. I sat on the floor next to the empty crib and ran my fingers through the cold wooden bars. "We should pack it away, Elena," Mark said from the doorway. His voice was, "My mother said it's better if we just move the furniture. It'll help us breathe again." "No, if we move it, then she's truly gone. If the crib stays, maybe there's still a chance it was all a dream." We sat in the dark for hours. We didn't eat. We didn't talk. We just sat in the wreckage of our future. That night, I learned that grief isn't a storm. It's a fog. It settles in your lungs and stays there, making every single breath an agonizing effort. I keep replaying the pregnancy in my head, like a detective looking for a flaw in a plan. It was the middle of the 2nd trimester, a simple fever, a cold that wouldn't go away. I remember calling the clinic because I felt so weak. "It's just the season," they told me. "Rest and drink water." Then the rash appeared on my skin. I went to a specialist, begging for a real exam. He barely looked at me before writing a script. "Just a typical skin reaction," he said. I told him something felt wrong deep inside. He just brushed me off. "Pregnancy makes you paranoid. Take the cream and go home." I trusted him. I trusted the diploma on his wall. I didn't know that my body was fighting a silent, deadly infection. By the time the labor started, the fire had already burned everything down. When she took her first breath, she was already too weak to fight. I was her first home, and I was the one who let the poison in because I trusted a man who didn't listen. We went to my parents' cabin in the woods for the holidays. They thought the mountain air would heal me. On Christmas Eve, the snow was falling so thick you couldn't see the trees. I went to the old steam house at the edge of the property. Tonight is the night when the veil is thin, my mother, before she left me alone. Listen to the silence, Elena. The souls speak in the quiet. I lay down on the wooden bench, the heat seeping into my skin. I closed my eyes, and the world shifted. I wasn't in the cabin anymore. I was back in my home. The sun was streaming through the windows. I walked to the crib, and there she was. She looked at me with eyes that were older than time. She touched my hand, and I felt a warmth I hadn't felt in months. "Mommy," she said. The voice resonated in my heart. I couldn't stay. My vessel was broken, but I haven't left you. I am just preparing. I in the dream. Please, don't leave me again. Be strong, she said. Her voice became firm, powerful. They will tell you to give up. They will tell you it's impossible, but you must wait for Renee. She is the one. She is coming through the fire. When I woke up, the air was freezing, but my heart was on fire. I had a name. I had a purpose. A year later, the miracle happened. Another positive test. But the fear was even worse this time. I got sick again. The same fever, the same symptoms. The doctors were terrified. "Elena, this is a death sentence," my new doctor said. "The medications you need to survive will ruin the baby. You're looking at severe defects. You have to terminate. It's the only logical choice." My mother-in-law was ruthless. She sat me down and told me I was being cruel to Mark. "Do you want to put him through another funeral? End this. Start over when you're healthy." I was at my breaking point. I sat in the clinic's waiting room, my hand on the pen, ready to sign the papers. I was going to let go. I was going to give up. And then the scream. "Don't you dare!" It wasn't a whisper. It was a roar that vibrated in my teeth. I looked around the room, but everyone else was silent. It was her. My first daughter had come back to protect her sister. I stood up and walked out. I didn't say a word. I just knew. If this child was going to fight, I was going to be her shield. The final months were a war. I ignored the experts. I stopped looking at the statistics. I only listened to the movement inside me in the hospital. During the final week, I met a woman in the hallway. Her name was Renee. I asked her what it meant. She looked at me and smiled. "It's an old name," she said. "It means reborn, or the resurrected one." I realized then that my first daughter hadn't just passed away. She had paved the way. The birth was calm, no emergency lights, no shouting, just the sound of the world holding its breath. And then, the most beautiful sound in the universe, a healthy, powerful. Leaving the hospital this time was a victory. The March sun was melting the last of the ice. Mark was waiting with a huge bouquet of lilies, and when he saw Renee, he fell to his knees, and I looked up at the sky. I felt the warmth on my face, and I knew she was there, watching us from the light. Thank you. Thank you for the name. Thank you for the strength. Thank you for coming back. To anyone who thinks their light has gone out, wait, listen. Sometimes the soul you lost is just waiting to be born again.